The very first thing that I think about when I think of AI is I think of paradigm shifting. And so if I take a step back and I think back to 1871, 1871 was the first time that we had compulsory education here in Ontario and Canada. And before that, 98% of all people on planet Earth were farmers. And so I try to imagine the school teachers and the principals knocking on the door of a farm and saying, I'd like your 5 children. I'd like to take them off the farm. This is what everybody does. I'd like to put them in a room for 6 hours a day for 192 days. And society is going to have more food than we would ever need. And we're going to be able to build a whole new, richer economy. I think most people would have thought that's absolutely crazy. But that's precisely what we did. And we did that by taming a technology. It's called a printed book. And so we had the printed book technology. It came out a few hundred years before, and it was very devastating, right? The very first thing that we did with the printed book was, or printed word was witch hunts, right? And so it took a long time before we got to the Prussian model of school. And once we did that, it allowed us to build everything around us, the cities, the cars, the electricity. It allowed us to be even more peaceful. And so we eventually figured it out. And historically, we eventually figured these things out. I think what we have now is a convergence of a number of different technologies that are sort of gelled together with artificial intelligence. So we have compute power, we have renewable energies, we have advanced materials, we have all of these things sort of converging into one. And it's the first time, probably in about 100 years, that we have an opportunity to create something new. And so that's going to lead to a significant amount of fear, the same way it would have led to fear with the farmer. So do I think we're going to have bumps in the road? Yes. Do I think we're going to have to plan for those bumps? Yes. Am I optimistic? I'm radically optimistic about the possibilities. Well, and you know what? And I think it's interesting. I know a lot of people are very excited about generative AI, and I think generative AI has a really big challenge, right? One is the platform integration is massive, which means that if you're a company and you get locked in really early, all your information goes in there. It's really, really difficult to disconnect from that particular platform. So I think smart companies are going to start moving towards open platforms or their own built platforms. But I think the sneaky winner in this is semantic AI. Semantic AI uses natural language and machine learning. It uses knowledge graphs. I've seen companies that actually use no code at all. It uses significantly less energy, and it allows companies to build their own internal enterprise software and spin those up in very short spaces of time based on a prompt. I think that's going to be radically different than the generative AI model that's controlled by someone else. So is this an AOL Google moment? Perhaps. I think the other piece is that we also see sort of emerging slowly and quietly is personal on-device semantic AI in the form of Apple Intelligence. And so I think once you have those two semantic AI pieces that really not necessarily as good at syntax as, let's say, the chat GPTs and the Claudes, but really, really good at privacy, really, really good at accuracy, really, really good at, in terms of energy efficiency and actual compute power. I don't think that generative AI and OpenAI is going to write the end of the AI story. I think they're the beginning of the AI story. They're definitely the inflection point. But I think there's some other companies that will have some things to say that will give a lot more options. And so when I think about strategic foresight, I think it's really important, as we say here in Canada, not necessarily to look at your feet, but skate to where the puck is going.